Friends, namaskar. As usual, you are welcome to the Public Global and requested as usual, I request you to please subscribe the channel and like the program and distribute and send it to share it to your friends also at the same time so that it can get a momentum to uh, momentum of serious points. Then now our democracy is facing. Actually, our country is facing as a whole. And of course, when we talk about our country, we must have consider democracy in our mind. Because what we are getting, the sense of achievement is also governed by the democratic sense of a nation. And somehow we are losing somewhere as a sovereign country, the sense of democracy we are losing. And that is the more important and more important thing to be considered for uh, fair discussions. Yes, election commission is there, that is autonomous body and the fully empowered by the government of India, by the constitution of India. And now we have to understand that. And our parliament has provided them the immunity. No case, the judicial case will be initiated against the election commission's construction regarding the procedural steps taken by them. So all we have to accept what the election commission has taken the procedural steps that is constitutional and that cannot be challenged anywhere in India. At least judicial challenge cannot be given to that. And this situation itself is not a democratic situation. It means that, in the deep sense, it means that the government and the system is not believing even in the judicial system of our country. For that, immunity has been provided to election commissions at large, because there is a system of our justice, the system of Supreme Court that can consider, that can take the proper care to protect the autonomy of election commission. And mind it, the separation of power is there in our constitution. The executive is there, legislative is there, and judiciary is there. Having so much of autonomy, election commission is not uh, either of them. Election commission itself is free of all kind of these systems, having full faith in that. And the constitutional amendments, constitutional positions is there very much clear, and that is in the case in the Supreme Court also, and the Parliament also. It is being discussed about Article 324, 327, so many articles. So here we are not going to discuss the legal position of that. We are just the political and the ethical and moral position of election commission. We can take it for public discussion. Otherwise, other aspects are being discussed technically by legally in the Supreme Court, and the legislative entity will be discussed by the Parliament itself. But when the what will is a more considerable thing that even Parliament have been formed. There are so many and a system of electoral bond, like electoral bond situation, and there are so many which has been challenged and accepted by declared by the court unconstitutional. So ultimately, Supreme Court is there to take care of all of these things. But if our forefather provided the full autonomy to the election commission, but here the question is from whom this autonomy was apprehended to be under threat. Only power can challenge the autonomy. and only power can change the institution. And the power has, yes, of course, the power has more to say in any system. So, but our this government has provided them immunity from to say the oppositions, those who are not agreed with the decisions of the uh, election commission. For them, immunity has been given there. So no personal case, no personal charge will be there under any circumstances, under any considerations. And this cannot be appreciated in a system in a democratic sense if the democratic sense is there. What happened? The effect of that. In Bihar, the last election, we have seen it. When the election commission, the chief election commission was appointed, and the Supreme Court has given a clear-cut instruction that Supreme Court Chief Justice will be maybe there, and leader of opposition and primary under the chairmanship of Prime Minister, they must be constitute a search committee and in a searching position, and they can have a clear-cut view for the next election commission to be appointed. But the Supreme Court verdict was telling that this provision has only made since the government is not making any law. And after that, the government made a law very quickly and firstly removed the Supreme Court, the scope of Chief Justice of India from that committee, from that composition or whatever mechanism. There was no place of CJI, the Chief Justice of Supreme Court of India was taken care of. So that is there. And we all have accepted it. And there was no problem. So here is that case. So what will be done in our favor? So that is being discussed in our situation. But when the SIR is not being discussed in Parliament, only the electoral reforms are there. So electoral reforms are there, is being discussed, and that is true. The electoral discussions will be get any result properly to save our democracy. But the behavior of the government, itself is not in a good sense. And that is problem. And the threat is coming from there. Why the government is not having full faith in Parliament, and the government is not taking any sense of Parliament when the important discussions are going around. The Prime Minister himself absenting the session, when the leader, or sometimes even leader of opposition also absenting when Prime Minister is making some important or some statement being given by the Prime Minister. So from the both sides, it is the democracy is getting hurt. But it is a challenge of the government of India. It is a challenge of the government composition, the cabinet composition, and for the floor managers to manage the situation as per requirement of that. But it is not being done at times. And every time it is being blamed to the leader of opposition and the opposition parties what they are challenging. And when they have challenged, they have asked anything. The anguish cannot be the language. The anger cannot be the language and tool to be used in the Parliament. So it was we have how bad it was in test. They are talking about the Jinnah and its Munna, Jinnah or Jinnah ka Munna. What kind of sense it is dealing, and the people will take. And our Parliament session and season is being considered to be an important document. So now it is very much clear to understand that our Constitution and the Parliament and the judiciary and the institutions all are conflicting to each other. So, and what will be happen the future of democracy? That is the more concern of the people of India. And there are many cases. Then there are situations, many cases threatening the democratic concept of our country, and it is getting changed. But these are the symptoms. By dint of the constitutional power, they have taken the power of the government and they are trying to disturb the system. But that is very much disturbing here. So deep state, the fear of deep state is there. So somebody is there, some power is there, which they are affecting, whole the situation, or affecting our system in a different manner, which are not, which cannot be taken properly, which cannot be taken in a good sense, in a good taste, and that is not there. So what we should go back to the ballot paper. Is there any solution to change the situation? And there are many people are asking, yes, ballot paper is good. Nothing is good. If we are not good, then nothing is good. What Baba Sahib told in reply of one question, if the constitution is being used by a good man, by a good uh, entity, the constitution is good, the law is good if it is being used by the good, with a good intention. But if it is not being used in a good intention, then how we can uh, it can be good? And even parliament, even prime minister also announced like that, laws are not there to harass the people, but to assist the people. But what we are seeing here, the law is being weaponized, and it is being used to harass the people, not to ease their life. And of course, as a citizen, we must consider that Prime Minister is himself felt the situation, that the laws are being used to harass the people. Otherwise, what made him, what compelled him to make such a statement that laws are not there, enforcements of laws are not to harass the people, but to serve the people, to make their life easy? Of course, the Prime Minister himself felt it. But after what he is doing, to whom he is doing, that law is being weaponized, law is being used to harass the people, not to serve the people. And this is the most question of this time. And the government, present government, they are more powerful and they having the more ideological, organizational support in country. No national, no party, no political parties having such kind of vast uh, mass organization, or the what kind of NGO. The Prime Minister himself told the NGO, the RSS, is having so much of supports, and no other party is having so many broad-based mass support, and the mass organization, and very many institutions and the branches of the RSS is active in different field of life and different activities of the life of the system. So they must try to understand what is we are losing, what we are going to lose if this kind of activity and this kind of political situation is allowed to be continued. Then what we will lose, that must be estimated by the RSS itself, what they are doing. So if when we talk about the BJP, the Bharatiya Janata Party, that is, we always treat themselves different. The RSS is different and the BJP is different. But we think somewhere we are committing some mistake, because the RSS and the BJP by content is by intent is not different, and by content itself is not different. When the intent and content is the same, now it may be RSS, it may be Bharatiya Janata Party, it may be various organizations working under their umbrella. So if the content and intents are same, then the structural position may not differ, may not affect a very different thing, because they will do that. So now the political considerations is there. The point to be discussed is that as a citizen we must accept the changes. What is there? Just before, just worthy mention, and everybody should know. And one retired or ex world IPS officer, Mr. Vitab Thakur, was, of course, he was traveling in train. The public don't know what charges against him, what compel the system to behave him, to take him off from the train like that. And that was not very much in a good sense, and that was not appreciated by the people of a country who are who came to know the such kind of activities of the system that has been performed. So why? There was system Amitabh Thakur and such as senior police officer, no corruption blame charges against him. Rather, he is the victim of the he was a whistleblower and victim of that. And we are the government is taking treating himself, and the, nothing to be understood that what is happening in our South India and the Tamil Nadu, there is some conflict between government, judiciary, and legislation, and many that is not in a way, that cannot be appreciated on behalf of we are talking in the context of the Deepam Utsav. So by the name of the Deepam Utsav, what it is being done there, one different kind of communalization and disharmony is being invited in Tamil Nadu itself, because the government and the election and the judiciary is coming, and the judicial position, it is a quality of judgment also, and that is also is under appeal. That has been appealed, and the legal position has not been finalized like that. But what made the court to move with the contempt proposals, to accept the contempt of proposals, and they are doing that. What they will do, how they will use, and it was the Supreme Court to whom the then Chief Minister Mr. Kalyan Singh had told, has committed, has announced, had taken under oath in situation the Babri Masjid will not be disturbed. The construction of Babri Masjid will not be disturbed, but that was disturbed, and the contempt of court was considered there, and the very slightly, and what kinds of court understood what kind of the fitable, appropriate to just appropriate to sentence that they will made, but the situation is like that. Then the contempt against the government is very crucial thing, and what is happening in otherwise we are seeing the culture of the bulldozer culture, when our judicial system, our court is always alarming that this cannot be run at large. This may not be the normal feature of the implementation of the law or the question of the rule of law. This cannot confirm. So, but they are doing that at their moment. So all the thing, the point is that when the election process itself, the basics of the formation of the government is polluted, is not fair and free, then everything will get frazzled, and everything will get inappropriate in our system. So that's why the discussion on electoral reform and the autonomy and immunity all are more important in our context. So what I appeal, rather we appeal to our common citizen, of course, citizen, our friends, to please consider all these points, whether this kind of unity was needed, whether the removal of the CJI, the Chief Justice of India, from that mechanism where the leader of opposition and Prime Minister was supposed to be there, and the CJI CJI should not be there as per the new mechanism passed by the law, and the one senior minister will accompany the Prime Minister. And of course, then what will happen? Will happen that what the government will decide, that will be done, and the leader of opposition will not make any effect. And now what the news is seen is in our country that dissent are not being attached in any system, in any such kind of decision. So anyway, so the first we must think about the electoral reform, the role of because the electoral process is the basics of the formation of the government in our country, who can ensure the democracy and the rights to the people provided by the Constitution. So you are requested, please, to start your opinion making process by your own way and have a conclusion, and adherence of the conclusion is required to be announced at this time. We must speak something. What you'd like, what you think that is better in our favor, you must speak to save the sustainability of our democracy and the situation and there are so many questions, the eco question, the ecological questions are there, but we don't have much time. Next time we'll discuss the ecosystem, the eco caring system, what the approach of the system of the government is there about our Paryavaran. There are so we are nature worshippers. As a nature worshippers, India must take some stand regarding this. So thank you very much. And as usual, I request you to please share it to your friends and like the program and subscribe the channel at the same time. Thank you very much.